Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a good show lined up for you today. We're going to kick it off here in just a second with Blake Alderman from Swamp 24/7 Sports. Second portion of the show, we're going to be joined by one of my former teammates, Dexter McNabb. But let's go straight to the Titan Tomorrow hotline, and we're joined by Blake Alderman from Swamp 27. Good morning, Blake. How are you? Blake, are you there? All right, I guess we lost Blake for a second. We'll get him back on the line. But as we mentioned, we're going to have Dexter McNabb, who scored the first touchdown in the Steve Spurrier era. So I don't know if people really realize that, but we need to remember that. And we'll be talking to Dexter, who lives up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And he's a principal up there. We'll talk about some of his career, his time with the Green Bay Packers, and why he decided to live up in that cold weather. Not much fun up there, trust me. Yesterday, if you missed it, Major League Baseball continued with their season. However, the Marlins and the Yankees and the Phillies, teams that were supposed to be playing this week, those games have been canceled. But yesterday, it's the Rays stay hot. They beat the Braves 5-2. I know we got a lot of Rays fans that watch this. But Major League Baseball is in full force. And so anyway, we're going to try to get Blake Alderman for 24/7 Sports here in just a second. In the meantime, if you got any text, feel free to text the program. It's 352-353-7465. Let's see here. We got some new technology we're using today, so we will try to get that fixed. I'm trying to pull it on my computer here. Not
Can you
sure
hear me?
what happened there. There he is. He's back.
Nice.
All right, Blake, as I mentioned, you're from 24/7 Sports. Before we get into Gator recruiting and those type of things, I saw an article that y'all had. Y'all had the top 50 players in college football. Any Gators make that list?
It was put together by the national side at 24/7 Sports. Kyle was number 28 on that list of the top 50.
Who is that? I'm sorry?
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yeah. I mean, he's by far our top player. It's going to be interesting to see. He's still got another year here. How he turns into an NFL player. He's going to have to get better when it comes to blocking. But yeah, he's a heck of a player. Who was number one on that list?
I believe Trevor Lawrence was number one.
Yeah, he's a pretty good one, no doubt about it. Yesterday or the day before, we had some news come out of Gainesville. One of our big defensive linemen is no longer being part of the team, taking kind of a medical leave. Still will be on scholarship, right?
Yes, he will, but he won't play due to medical reasons.
So Blake, tell me, Carlos Del Rio did a really good job at the Elite 11 competition. Has been to some other camps. Talk a little bit about his development and how much he's improved.
He's always had kind of the frame, just a guy that looks like he's going to be a college player. He's a guy that was, in his junior film last year, he showed that he has a big ability to run around. He's got that kind of escapability that what you would like from a Dan Mullen quarterback. But there were some mechanic things that he needed to work on, and he's really worked hard on that in the offseason. And I think that whenever he showed up at the Elite 11, he really showed that a lot of those things that he's working on are really kind of starting to click for him. He was one of the guys that you kind of watched the replays of his pro day workout, and you heard a lot of oohs and ahs from his throws. I thought from what I saw, We weren't allowed to travel at the time due to, just kind of the COVID things. And we've been kind of,
Mhm.
scarce on being able to travel, but just watching the clips that they had, luckily a lot of the Elite 11 things were streamed and you could see them over the internet. It was good for me from afar to be able to get to see those things. But I thought what I saw from him was the best showing that I've seen from him at all, just of all the times I've seen him throw, obviously on his film at Friday Night Lights, Florida camps. I thought that was the best showing that he's had. So it does show that, he's really worked hard this offseason. You can kind of see the fruits of his labor there.
Blake, give us some recruiting news. I know the Gators got a big get from a wide receiver. I want to say out of Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. Talk a little bit about him.
Correct. Marcus Burke, he's a 4-star wide receiver. Number 167 overall in the 24/7 Sports Top 247 rankings. 6'3", 180. Just you look at his film, and the first thing that jumps out is just, he can take the top off of the defense. It's a guy who's got the size that you normally see from a Dan Mullen receiver, that 6'3" size. 180, he's a little skinny. He's a long, lanky type of kid. And obviously, those guys fill out in college. You get them in a weight plan. College, your body changes so much at the next level. So obviously they'll bulk him up. But when you see the guy like that, just a mix of size and speed, I'm excited to see what they can do with him. They kind of compare him, so to say, maybe not in the same exact twitchy type of mold as Van Jefferson, but a guy like that has the speed and has a little bit of size and length on his side.
We're speaking with Blake Alderman on the Titan Hour Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Blake_Alderman. Works for 24/7 Sports, covers the Gators. Give us some other news of some good things that have happened in the recruiting world for the Gators.
Obviously they're hit a little bit of a run in the month of July after Marcus Burke, or I guess I should back up and go before Marcus Burke. They landed a 4-star safety in Donovan McMillan. He's a 4-star on 24/7 Sports. We're a little bit higher on him than the industry average, which is the 24/7 Sports composite. But he's a guy that, he's a wrestler out of Pennsylvania. He's really physical. Obviously cleaning up some coverage things here and there. He'll play safety for Florida. They've talked a little bit, more of a strong safety type of role for him. So Donovan McMillan was a big one for Florida that kind of got things rolling. And obviously then Burke was after that. And then last week on Friday, Florida landed 2 commitments. They landed an offensive center in Jake Slaughter, who flipped from Florida State. He's from Trinity Catholic in Ocala. Florida State, he committed there. They were an early offer. He committed, I believe it was in April or May, or I believe it was in April he committed there. But Florida offered him a couple months later. This is a guy who's just, he's a diehard Florida fan, grew up going to a lot of the camps, watching Florida, loving Florida. So that was kind of a matter of a time when he got the offer, and he flipped on last Friday. So that was a nice addition at that center spot, adding some more help for the interior part of the offensive line. More than likely will be a center for Florida at some point, but you never know how things kind of start out. You could throw him out at guard. Either way, interior part of the offensive line is where I see him making the impact for Florida. And then later that day, Florida landed a commitment from a long snapper, Rocco Underwood out of Lake Mary, Florida. He will be a scholarship player. Florida offered him. It's been a while since they've offered him. Alabama also offered him a full ride as a long snapper. He plays tight end as well for his high school. Had some offers, some smaller offers as a tight end. But as far as Florida goes and his future there, he'll be a long snapper. As far as I don't know much about long snappers. I can't say that's my level of expertise there. But he is the number 1 rated long snapper on Rubio long snapping rankings. He's a 5-star player on their rankings, so Florida landed them a 5-star.
Now, let me ask you this, Blake. Are we actually giving a long snapper a scholarship?
They are.
Interesting, because usually those guys they're walk-ons or preferred walk-ons or what have you. But that's interesting that we have a 5-star long snapper. Never heard of that.
That's a first for me too.
So I know a lot of our listeners and a lot of Gator fans get caught up in the rankings of recruiting, this, that, and the other. As of right now, where does Florida sit in your rankings?
They're sitting at number 11 right now. Obviously, there's some guys coming up in August that are making some decisions. Not all of them I think are going to go Florida's way, but I think they're going to get theirs. They're going to continue to kind of build on that 2021 class. So for right now, they're sitting at 11. They were at 10. The Miami Hurricanes have gone on a little bit of a run here lately, kind of keeping some of those local guys home. They landed a big commitment in James Williams, and that really helped them in the rankings as far as boosting them up. So right now, Florida's sitting at 11, but they obviously have a chance to continue to keep adding some guys in the fold.
Start sometime in August, right? Didn't that come out yesterday?
I'm sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
NCAA, didn't they approve that teams can go ahead and move forward here in the month of August with football?
Yes, they did. I don't know that it's actually been, something they've actually come out and announced, but we have a guy that, at 24/7 Sports that was hearing that, and he reported and put a story up about it. His name is Brandon Marcello. I'm pulling it up now, actually. NCAA issued a blanket waiver allowing all football bowl subdivision schools to begin playing the college football season as early as August 29th.
Okay. Yeah, I know where Oklahoma moved one of their games up against Missouri State. So
Right.
Blake, what are you hearing out there? What do you think the SEC is going to do from a schedule standpoint?
I'm not totally sure right now. That's not really my wheelhouse to kind of get into that kind of stuff with the SEC and what they're going to do. But I believe right now they're kind of figuring things out to at least have one non-conference game for each of the schools in there. So I think maybe you'll see some SEC games and maybe throw in one non-conference game. So I don't know that there's really anything set decision-wise there. I don't know. Obviously they're still kind of talking and figuring things out. And, I even think to some extent, a lot of these, NCAA, maybe even NFL pro footballs are kind of looking at how MLB does right now. Obviously they've kind of opened their season back up, and I believe it was the Marlins had somewhere like 14 to 19 guys that had tested positive for the virus. So I think right now, MLB's it's apples and oranges compared to college football and NFL. But I think right now the MLB is kind of the guinea pig for the rest of these sports to kind of see, well, this is what happens when things open back up, and you kind of have an idea of what you can expect there.
We're speaking with Blake Alderman on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from WrapSpot. July is your lucky month at WrapSpot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Blake, I got a question for you. You hear Gator fans complaining about, we don't recruit well, whether it's Dan Mullen, his staff, whatever it is. And it bothers me because yet some coaches are better recruiters than others. Then some coaches are better X's and O's and can call plays and stuff. But you still can't convince kids are going to make up their own mind. And if player X does not choose the University of Florida, people get so upset. What are your thoughts on Dan Mullen and his staff when it comes to recruiting?
I think there's always ways you can improve on the recruiting trail. And I think one thing for them is kind of closing things down near the stretch. They make a lot of leeway for a lot of these kids. It can be an early leader, any kind of aspect there, or maybe a guy that's committed to another school. But, like last cycle, a guy like Timothy Smith, who had been committed to Alabama, but visited Florida like somewhere around 9 times or 8 or 9 times or something to that effect, but still stuck with his commitment. I think fans in general kind of always remember the ones that got away, necessarily the ones that are there now. You could have a run where you land, a 5-star player and another big time guy. And then fans, recruiting is kind of an up and a down thing, where you have those kind of runs where there's a lot of excitement, and then a guy may trend somewhere else or he may pick somewhere else. And I think that those are the ones that a lot of fans kind of zero in on, are the ones that that got away. So I think there's definitely some things they can do to improve. I think closing kind of down the stretch is something that they had really looked to kind of improve at after how the last 2 signing days went last cycle. You bring a guy in like Tim Brewster, who's really kind of known for being that kind of dog recruiter, and has really done that for a long time, and it's a good mix of also being a really good assistant coach and tight end coach as well. So I think that there's some things that they've done. I also think that the COVID, it helps some schools in some aspects. I think you look at a school like Miami, where they have a lot of those guys now that haven't been able to take visits, and I think it becomes a little bit of an appeal to kind of stay home, and that's something they're really pitching. So I think that Florida, they do really well whenever it comes to, getting guys on campus, building those bonds, kind of showing their brand and showing what they do on the field, and maybe not so much of, kind of these Zoom calls and having to do these things from afar. So I think COVID kind of really didn't do them a lot of favors. Obviously, they're still picking up commitments at a pretty, nice rate. I just kind of rattled off some of the guys they've had just this month alone. So, I think that there's always some improvement in anything, whether it's on the field or on the recruiting trail. But I think, for my opinion at least, obviously there's been some guys in some classes, that maybe haven't made it academic wise. That's another thing, maybe kind of doing a little bit more due diligence there. But I think for right now, I've seen Florida's class get better every year since they've been there. The first year Mullen kind of did some cleaning of the house, in his recruiting offices, and there's some guys in there now that seem to be kind of getting things on the track. So, I think on the recruiting wise, you've seen them get better every year with it. But they're always, even then, there's always going to be some things you can do to improve.
How much do you think not having a football standalone facility has hurt us? Now, obviously, we're going to be building one, but I've been to pretty much every one of them in the Southeast, and it's not a fair fight when it comes to recruiting. I don't care what anybody tells you off the record or whatever. Yes, they want to go to a good school, and yes, academics matter, but let's be honest, these guys are coming to major universities to get to the NFL. They're not thinking about getting a business degree or any of that stuff right now. Where can I go to a good program, win a lot of games for 3 years, and then go to the NFL? But I firmly believe once we have that football facility built, it's going to enhance our recruiting dramatically.
Those things sometimes they help. I think they're things that get guys interested. I think, like you said, it shows, that they're serious about football and, building those things there. At this point, it's one of those things that, all the schools are either have them or they're going to be having them. So I think it's something that kind of keeps you up with the Joneses. College football and all these facilities, it's kind of turned into a little bit of an arms race, like you just see that, you look at some of these facilities and you see like, barbershops and movie theaters. I think Florida's is going to have like a recording studio. So, I mean, there are a lot of things in there that are, kind of bells and whistles that do get a lot of those kids excited. I don't know that I've ever seen a kid that has said, I picked, X school because they have a standalone facility. I think a lot of those things kind of do more so with like relationships and, chances to get, playing time or a chance to get into the league, depending on, for Florida, defensive backs, they do a lot of good, a lot of good there just for the fact that they've churned a lot of guys out to the NFL. So I think there are other factors that matter a little bit more, but I think that having those kind of facilities is, it's good to have. It's good to keep you from getting crossed off the list, just because you have something now that another school also has, that maybe you didn't have
Well,
before. And, maybe that was part of the conversation. Well, Alabama has this or Clemson has this, but Florida doesn't. So I think that those kind of things save you from, maybe having that conversation where it gets something like that gets you eliminated. But, I don't know that I've ever heard that, that was something that was like, oh, that's why I picked Florida.
right. And I'm not talking about the bells and whistles. I'm just talking about a facility where the kids can go. We're the only ones that don't have one. When you
Right.
look at the top, now Miami is different. Miami does not. But when you look at the teams we battle against, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, they all have one.
Sure.
We don't. And I don't care what anybody says, because I'm not saying a kid is going to choose a school, because those schools I just mentioned to you, they all win and they've won national championships. That's my point. We've won national championships. Kids want to play for us, but when we're in a fight that ain't fair. And I don't care what anybody says out there. It does matter. I'm not talking about the barbershops, the bowling alleys. I'm just talking about having a facility that is specifically for football when everybody else has one. And thank goodness Scott Strickland is getting it built, because I'm telling you, it's going to make a difference. I talked to a lot of kids that are being recruited, and like I said, they're not choosing it because of the facility, but it does hurt you when you don't have one.
Sure. Like I said, it's just one of those things that, when it comes time to eliminating things, and like you said, when you're looking at the Alabamas, the Clemsons, and the Georgias, you just have to have something. You have to have a reason to keep yourself in the fight. If that's one of those things, well, so and so has this or so and so has this. Florida doesn't. So I think that that's something. It's beneficial. Kids are going to like that stuff. It's going to be something else for Florida to show their brand, show that they're serious about football. You'll have your own weight room on this side. There are plenty of positives from that, though, no doubt.
Yeah, because I mean, one of my best friends, his two twins are the top two linemen in the country. He played at Texas, and their choices were between Clemson and Alabama because of what they've put into the football programs. And obviously, they're winning and they get people into the NFL. So anyway, Blake, let everybody know where they can check you out. What y'all got going on over 24/7.
Sure, Swamp 24/7 Sports. We're the Florida 24/7 Sports website. We've had plenty of recruiting things going on. Like I mentioned before, it's been a little bit of a steady July for them. Plenty of decisions coming up in the month of August. So it looks like things are going to stay active on the recruiting front for Florida. Luckily, fingers crossed here, college football is, practices are going to be starting soon. So we'll have some coverage there. So I'm looking forward to, finally seeing some sort of football. Obviously, even for me, high school football is tentatively set to start later in the month of August. So, man, I'm just ready to watch some football that isn't, a previously recorded game or, some kind of highlight tape. So I can't wait.
Well, Blake, we appreciate you taking the time to join us, my man. Stay safe, and hope we'll be kicking it off talking about practices here pretty soon.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me on.
That's Blake Alderman from Swamp 24/7 joining us on the Titan MR hotline. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. We're going to take our first time out of the program here on this Wednesday edition. When we come back, we're going to talk to old number 21 for the Florida Gators, Big Dexter McNabb. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Area Rug Masters, your number one choice in Gainesville for all your area rug cleaning services. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank, Gator Bait Media, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Gators Dockside, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Radware, Style Cuts, Wrap Spot, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Chris Doring Mortgage, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance, Pomodoro Cafe, MB Listings, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Cornerstone Financial Group, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Master, 84 Lumber, Focus Real Estate Group, Spa Royale, and Gainesville Neon and Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say, it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Starbucks, Regal Cinemas, and coming soon, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point. I want to thank Blake Alderman for joining us. Let's go back to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by my old freshman brother, Big Dexter McNabb. Good morning, Dexter. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Shane. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, appreciate you taking. What's the weather like up in Green Bay? You're in Green Bay, right?
Yeah, I'm in Green Bay. You know, I live like a little outside of Green Bay, like a little suburb, but yeah, pretty much it's Green Bay, yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
the weather right now is, you know, it's nice, sunny, you know. We even have a little humidity out there, but it ain't nothing like Florida though.
yeah. Let's go back to your young days up in Dufuniak Springs, Florida. You were a big dude coming out of there. You had a couple of high school teammates, Ed Robinson and
my brother,
came out of there.
Yeah, my brother and my cousin Myrick Anderson. Yeah,
That's it, Myrick Anderson.
Yeah. We all came out of the same high school. Yeah, I mean, we was forced to be reckoned with. I mean, we we all came out of a small town. Small town boys did good, you know.
So when talk about your recruiting process, what other schools and what other visits did you take other than Florida?
Well, coming out of high school, God, I was getting recruited by some of everybody from schools way up here, from Michigan to Stanford, from Auburn, Alabama, Florida State. Schools I went to visit, Alabama, and I went to Auburn and Florida State. Yeah, and also Florida, as you know. So yeah.
So
those ones.
I always like to ask the guys, what made you choose to be a Florida Gator?
Well, for me, it started pretty much my sophomore year in high school, because that's the year we won state, and also on our trip down to the state game, you know, we was playing Wildwood High School. So we stopped in Gainesville and we kind of walked through the complex and everything now. And I just looked out there and I said, boy, one day I would love to come to play here. Comes behold me, I didn't know, you know, I was that good, you know, to be on that level. But, you know, and I always had that, I just remember seeing that, you know, that Gator in that orange and blue. And I said, man, I want to come here and play here. Not knowing that I would have the opportunity to pretty much choose any college that I wanted to go to. You know, it was just surreal in itself. And another reason why I chose Florida, it was the fact that, you know, I knew by being a Florida, you know, boy, and you get a degree from the University of Florida, that carries a lot of weight. And that will take me in the rest of my life after football will lead, you know.
So Dex, you know, you come in, you play a little bit as a freshman. You were a big running back, dude, back in those days. What were you, about 225?
Well, I came in at 222, but you know, I got on them weights in that table. You know, I left there weighing like 240. Good Lord, you know.
You know, a lot of people. Let's talk a little bit. You know, we were recruited by Galen Hall, and then Coach Spurrier came in, and from a running back standpoint, it was probably not what y'all like because we threw the ball a lot, but we did run it.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people don't remember. You know, it's a great trivia question. Who scored the first touchdown in the Steve Spurrier era? And it was good old number 21, Dexter McNabb.
That's right. You're right. A lot of people don't know that. And the thing about it, though, from me being recruited by Galen Hall, you know, we was pretty much an I-type team. You know, Emmitt Smith left, Emmitt Smith right, sweeps, you know, things of that nature. But one of the and when Coach Spurrier came, everything's changed. It changed from the landscape of for us on practice field, and how he taught us to be men, you know. And I really appreciated that. And also too, from the Spurrier days, you know, that he really prepared myself for the NFL, because with him and his offense and how he, you know, taught it, and how he, you know, responded to defenses with his, you know, he never reacted. What he did, the defense reacted to us, and he controlled the tempo. And every time they do something, he'll have a response for it. And I really found that very, very awesome, you know, and just being around him. But he changed the landscape. I mean, he really changed the landscape, and I really appreciate him. And also my running back coach, Coach Carl Franks. Kudos to him, because, like I said, he really taught me to really understand the game as from a running back standpoint of how to read defenses, where everybody else is blocking, and things of that nature. And I just thought that carried me through my life to make me be a successful fullback.
Dexter, I was doing an interview with somebody the other day, and they always ask me who's coming up on my show each week. And I said, Dexter McNabb. And I said, Dexter's the one that scored the first touchdown. They go, what was the play? And I said, well, it was a run play. Hell, I don't remember. I knew it was either 35 base or 39 sweep. It was to the left.
Yeah, it was 35 base.
35 base. That's what I thought.
35 base.
Okay.
Yes, sir, 35 base.
Because I told him, I said, if it had been a touchdown pass, I would have remembered the play, but it was a run play, so I don't remember. I just remember I reversed out and it went left, so it was 35 base.
It was 35 base. You reversed out, gave him the ball. I got popped, but then I kind of, these old big old tree trunks I got, it kind of got me over the line, and we scored a touchdown. Yeah, 35.
So Dex, when you looking back at your Florida career, what was the one game or one team that you enjoyed playing against the most?
Well, when we grew up, it was always, Florida State, because we knew those guys, especially for being from Florida, being from there, So, I have two. It was really Florida State, and also it was those freaking Georgia Bulldogs, man. Good Lord, man. Yeah, it was always Georgia between the hedges. So, because it's Georgia Bulldogs. But really, if we talk to Florida boys, it's always Florida State.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about some of the guys that you still keep in contact with from our freshman class.
Well, like I said, we keep it, for me, for Marek, Willie, and a lot of us do a lot of social media stuff. I see, guys, on Facebook, a lot of more technique savvy than I am, and we keep up, every now and then, see what each other's doing through that way. I was just recently got contacted back with Sam Scabella. He's a superintendent out in Vegas somewhere, of all places. He's a superintendent, boy. They must be giving away degrees, for him. And, just little stuff that looking, I see on Facebook, I see Willie, I think his daughter just got married and he's bald headed. So, I still have more hair than he does. So, we all, so Willie, and, but other than that, like I said, just a lot of Facebook posts and checking on you, that kind of thing. Nothing really, good, as in seeing each other every year, which will be nice to get together every year again to kind of see those guys and kind of reminisce a little bit,
Yeah. Dexter, I've talked to a bunch of different players on my shows over the last 6-7 months, and, we always talk about Jan Hall.
Yeah, man.
There was no place like Jan Hall.
No
and
place.
I think college football, or college sports, I should say, when they did away with the athletic dorms, I think that ruined the bond between the players, the teams. We got to hang out with basketball players, tennis players, all different sports because we all lived together.
Right.
But your thoughts on Jan Hall?
Hey, I tell you what, I have a lot of great memories from Jan Hall. From, threatening the RAs, for don't be telling Coach Spurrier on us, when we sneak out of things of that nature. But but you're right. It was that bond, and being on a different end for being down there by them boys from Miami, because, man, they're a different breed. Boy, I tell you, good Lord, man. Tim Polk and those guys, it's a different breed. But like I said, you're right. So I never understood why the NCAA or the colleges got away from just those kind of dorms with the camaraderie and the closeness that we had as players, And the thing with that also, too, it kind of had us to look out for each other also, too. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a lot of guys, as on our team when we was there, they was going through some things, for stuff in the community, things of that nature, and abuses and things like that. So, but when you have guys like yourself and myself and other guys also too, we can sit there and talk to guys, say, hey guys, hey, you might not want to do this, you might want to do this, that kind of thing. It was like that brotherhood, and when they went away from that, I think, they lost that a lot. Absolutely.
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're speaking with Dexter McNabb on the Titan MR hotline. Dexter, you get drafted by the Green Bay Packers.
You know it.
How was your career with the Packers?
You know what? Like I stated earlier, is that, being drafted by Green Bay, it was a good transition for me because, Coach Spurrier, that offense that we ran, that run and go, was kind of had a little West Coast swing into it a little bit, and the verbiage was somewhat similar, and plus what was asked of me as a fullback was really an easy transition from college to pro, and the way we practice is like, man, we practice like this at Florida. Like I said, Spurrier, everything was fast tempo. He's not going to beat the mess out of you, but he expects you to be professional and to take care of yourself. And that's how Mike Organ was. And it was just great transition. My days at Green Bay, I loved it. I mean, it's really a college town. It's a player's town. It's not much. When I first came, it wasn't much for diversity, things of that nature, but it has turned the tide when it has been, when the Brett came in, the year that I got drafted up here and changed the landscape. And we had Coach Hogan, the Super Bowls and things of that nature. Those guys have won over the time. It really have put Green Bay back on the map, because even before the day when I got drafted up here, they said, hey, if you don't do right, we're going to send you to Green Bay, and that kind of killed that mystique, So, but like I said, it's a great place to raise kids. It's a good educational state, and that's one reason why, I stayed up here, and my kids are up here and, went through the school system, things of that nature. But it was great. I loved it, it was a great atmosphere. It's a players' town. It's a fans' town. I mean, everybody knows you, that kind of thing, the hometown type feeling. But it's great for tradition. So it was really awesome. I really loved my days playing for Green Bay.
Yeah, I was gonna. It's my favorite venue to go to in the National Football League because, as you mentioned, it's like you drive through a neighborhood and bam, there's a big old stadium right there. It's just like it's like a college town.
Yes.
I've told the story many times on my show, Dex. When I was with the Buffalo Bills, we did the old where we fly in for a couple of days during training camp and practice against them, and then play this preseason game. But I got to ride the bike, one of the kids' bikes, down to the practice field.
Oh, okay.
Which that was awesome because that's a great tradition that Green Bay has.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. And like I said, it's a players' town, and man, you can really make an impact if you do things the right way and carry yourself in the right fashion up under the umbrella of doing what's right, And that's what I really like Green Bay,
So Dex, what was it like playing with old Brett Favre?
Man, I tell you what, he's the kind of Brett's kind of guy you want to have in a foxhole with, he's a gunslinger. He has his Southern drawl. He's a fighter. Brett is Brett, Brett is Brett, he's a big kid playing a man's game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how he plays it. He's not going to back down from anybody or anything. He's going to tell you how he feels, and he's going to go 100 miles an hour. And man, and then after that, and then he'll think about, now why did I do that? But like I said, he was a good guy, good teammate, and just unbelievable talent. I tell everybody when you drive down Oneida Street, y'all, but they better think number 4 because I tell you what, he put Green Bay back up on the map along with the coaches. But I tell you what, Brett was able to rally a team around and to go full speed.
Yeah. So Dex, after your playing days, obviously you got multiple degrees. You've been you got into education, administration.
Right.
You've been a principal. What made you decide to go to that route?
You know what, Shane? After I was with Green Bay and I was released from Green Bay, a lot of people don't know this. I really, didn't really want to play anymore because that's what my first taste of the NFL not for long type stuff. They used to have that abbreviation stand for not for long, But how I grew up and how I was raised, by Southern strong moments, the fact that it's when you tell somebody something, that's your bond. You know what I'm saying? But when you break that bond, I don't know how much I can trust you. And like I said, but when I got released from here, it was kind of like, hold on now, where is this all coming from? But but I accepted it, and went on. And after that, I just didn't have my the taste in the drive to want to continue to play, professional football. But I did have a couple stints here and there once I got it. But then I had a neck injury, and and they told me that I can have surgery, or, can risk to go out there and could be paralyzed, if I was to get hit the wrong way, because I had a narrowing of the spinal column, and I'm like, what the world? And then myself, not knowing how to deal with that, because like I said, at the age from being a little youngster, from 8 years old, you played football all the way years through, and you was built to be a machine, So, and I'm saying, I don't know how to adjust from this. And then the way I adjusted is the fact that is that I had a chance to go back to get work into college for scouting and to work in the NFL as a scout, also to a player development. But I just didn't find my niche was there, sit there and try to babysit grown men. I didn't care too much for that. So, and then I got into education because I'm a believer in kids, and I believe in kids. And I always wanted to get into a situation where that I can make a difference, not monetary and things of that nature, but make a difference as being a good role model for young men, because that's how, once again, how I grew up and how I had people around me to give me that leg up, and also to believe in me and let me know that it's something more than just being an athlete. And once again, I'm going back to college there a little bit too, and that's when, like we said with Spurgeon got there, he really labeled the fact that student athlete and how he was going to graduate a lot of guys and get the percentage up for the graduation because it wasn't that good, So, and all that stuff was instilled in me, and I believe in the kids, and I went back and I said, you know what, I'm gonna get an education. I got into education, and I haven't turned back since. I love it. I love it.
That's awesome. I think back to me when I was growing up as a youngster, as elementary school, junior high, or whatever, you get in trouble, they send you to the principal's office, get a paddling.
Yes, sir.
Good thing they don't have those nowadays, right?
yeah, you're right. Good thing they have it. We'll be soon, but I tell you what, I wish they could bring that back up. There's a couple of my love to jack up like that, but but yeah, we grew up getting paddled. Could get no more than 5 licks, and boy, I tell you, whoo.
Yep, I believe people would be pretty scared if they had to go to Principal McNabb's office. Now, have you done any coaching?
You know what I've been, this is like my 3rd school, the school where my kids went to. Yeah, I did a little coaching. I was a assistant coach and head girls track coach. And then once I got into administration, all those things, I got too busy and I couldn't get into all that. Plus you have your own kids doing sports. You can't give back like you want to, but I'm forever close to the game. I love the game. I believe in sports. And, so I haven't got into the last 5 years. I haven't did anything with coaching, but one day I would love to get back into it though. I'm not that old. I'm not that distance from it that I don't still understand X's and O's.
Right. We're speaking with Dexter McNabb on the Titan MR text line. Got a few more minutes with Dex. You got a good Coach Spurrier story?
Man, I tell you what, I never forget with Coach Spurrier. I remember the first time we had, I don't know if you remember this, the first time we had an offensive meeting, he called us in there, and it was this offensive lineman guy. I don't know if he's a walk-on or whatever. He was sitting back there videotaping Coach Spurrier. I don't know if he was in that meeting. It was an offensive meeting. He came and he was talking, and I forgot the guy. He was back there videotaping Coach Spurrier. And Coach Spurrier looked at him like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, no, we're not doing it here. Put that camera down.
I do remember that. I can't remember who that big lineman was.
I think he was a walk-on. He was, he had a different kind of personality, but I don't remember that. And the other thing I remember we had practice one day. Me and Eric Red, we were sitting back there. Coach Spurs right there. He had his little playlist going through it, giving the plays, and it was running through. I think it could have been a 907 or something like that. And Eric Red, he just hauled off and just spit right down on the ground. Just big old loogie right down the ground. And Coach Spurrier, he was sitting there looking at his playlist. He looked at Eric. Eric, do you know the polite way to spit? Eric said, no, Coach. And I'm sitting there like to myself. I said, boy, I sure hope you don't ask me because I don't know the polite way to spit either. So he said, this is a polite way to spit. He spit down. He kind of dusted over with his foot. Now, that's how you spit. And Eric looked at me. I looked at Eric. I said, hey, man, I don't know. I said, we learn this stuff every day from this guy. So
yeah, he's a different dude, no doubt about it.
Oh, my God. He's a different dude. But but he's a player's coach. He's a good dude, man. And I think we always blessed that he came in. Nothing against coaches who recruited us to come there, but he came in at the right time to save Florida football, and Florida should owe him that.
No doubt. Talk a little bit, last thing for you, talk a little bit about Coach Franks, what he meant to you as a running backs coach.
Well, I tell you what, Coach Carl Franks, and like I said, I mean, you know, you have a lot of, if you was to look through college and look at the NFL, and I'm just talking about offensive coordinators, a lot of them don't last long because they don't adjust, you know, because they can't really relate or really teach the type players. And their offense is very vanilla. They have a lot of moving parts, but it's very vanilla. But what Coach Franks and Coach Burke, but really Coach Franks taught us as running backs, I mean, he taught us how to read defenses, to understand gaps of, you know, if that defensive lineman is in a three technique and he's kind of shading over that, you know, that guard and center is going to have to come and help him out to go up to the next level. And that, me as a fullback, I had to know, he taught me how to know who the linemen are doing, and also know what the linebackers were doing. And also I knew the tailback position, because half of the time I had to look at Eric and Willie. You know, if you was the audible, I said, hey, you have him. And, you know, Red, who? I used to say 34, just kick 34, Eric, you know? So it was
tell Red what to do on every play pretty much.
Oh, dude, you did. I mean, he was love him to death, but good Lord. But like I said, Coach Franks, like I said, he really taught us how to understand the craft of being a running back, not just the back to go right and go left, to really understand angles, how to read defenses, and understand what the guys across the ball was doing. And you could tell that him and Coach Spurrier, they gelled in that sort of fashion, because it was relayed from what Coach Franks taught us in the meeting room. It was shown on the football field, extra teaching. And when I went through the pros, when I went through a lot of different offenses and things of that nature, I'm like, man, y'all can learn a lot from a lot of these college coaches, because you guys don't know how to teach this game. It was weird. I mean, when you have a running back coach tell you, you hit the A gap, just go in the A gap. You can't tell a running back just to go in the A gap. If it's not there, you got to be able to know how to maneuver, to understand what the offensive linemen are blocking at angles and the defense is doing. You just can't do that, you know. And boy, and that once again, you know, like I said, I lost a love for it, but I really appreciate, you know, the times I had in college and the people who was blessed me enough to understand it, and in my travels as a young man to now a man, and now I'm giving it back in the realms of education to change the lives for every young man and young woman who comes before me in and out these doors. You know, I have the mindset of everybody can learn, and I really truly believe in education, you know, so.
That's good stuff, my man. I'm proud of you. Great role model for all of us. And stay safe up there. Stay warm when it comes wintertime. And we're going to talk to you soon there, Dexter McNabb.
Hey, thanks, Shane, and much love to you. And good luck to your kid.
Appreciate it, my man. That's number 21. Folks, great trivia question. That guy right there scored the first touchdown in the Steve Spurrier era. We're going to take a timeout.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Area Rug Masters, your number one choice in Gainesville for all your area rug cleaning services. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank, Gator Bait Media, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Gators Dockside, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Radware, Style Cuts, Rap Spot, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Chris Doring Mortgage, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance, Pomodoro Cafe, MB Listings, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Cornerstone Financial Group, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Master, 84 Lumber, Focus Real Estate Group, Spa Royale, and Gainesville Neon and Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say, it's great to be a Florida Gator.
This Day in Sports is brought to you by Area Rug Masters. Don't fight your area rugs. Take them to Area Rug Masters. With their convenient curbside service, you will never need to go anywhere else. Call them at 352-448-5999. This Day in Sports in 2001, the 88th Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong was disqualified and stripped of his title. Folks, that's going to be a wrap on today's show, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Jackie Spreads, brought to you by Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. We'll have Coach Mike White on. But make sure you tune in tomorrow. Great show. Want to thank Dexter McNabb and Blake Alderman. Be safe out there, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!